3-bar exploits. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Yeah, brought to you by Strictly Business Gaming, our sponsor. Go check them out for free Call of Duty tournaments that you can win money in, and their Twitter and website will be linked in the description below. And I'm here with Bondfire and WakMed as usual.
How's it going?
What's up, guys?
All right, so we have already had some nice debate going on about this topic, but we're just going to jump right in, and we'll let Bonfire referee between me and WakMed, I guess, and so Bonfire can kind of lay the stage. But we're going to talk about Call of Duty news channels and trailer re-uploaders and people of that nature. So
Yeah,
somebody take it.
overall, it seems the debate is coming from when you get these big YouTubers. The example was used Allier as one of them. They just take a newly released trailer, like the new DLC pack for Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and re-upload it a couple hours later with like a 30-second commentary over it. And then, because they're making money off their videos, they make, X amount of money off those videos, just basically re-uploading a trailer that they don't even own. And that's where the debate goes in. So take it away, guys.
All right, I'll go first. Okay, so my issue is this: when I put up a typical commentary, because that's basically mostly what I do. 95% is just regular commentaries. It takes me, I don't know, however. I mean, I kind of just think of my topics. I'm sure you guys do the same. You just kind of think of your topics, randomly throughout the day. You think, oh, this might be good to talk about. So you spend time thinking of good topics to talk about. Then you have to go get a good gameplay, right? And I mean, some channels have different standards for gameplay than others, but in general, I mean, you want to get as close to the best level of gameplay as you can for your own skill level, and you try to spend time doing that. Then you have to go actually record the commentary, and if you make a mistake in the commentary or you do something, you could end up redoing that commentary a couple times. So that's going to take you probably like 30 minutes from end to end to do the commentary, and then you have to go edit the video, and you have to put your intro in, and then I've started using a little color corrector and stuff, and put text occasionally. I'm not going to act like I do the most editing out of anybody, because I don't. I know WakMed definitely does more editing than I do, but you still have editing to do, and then you have to render and then upload, obviously. So
That
for
feels like an indictment.
well,
I know
it's
what you're
just
saying.
it's
I know.
just from end to end, from the beginning where you think I want to talk about this to when the video gets uploaded. There's several hours of time put into doing that. Whereas if all I have to do is go to Call of Duty's channel, download the trailer, put 30 seconds of commentary basically saying, hey guys, here's the new DLC trailer, we got 4 new maps, here's the names of them, and enjoy. And that's all I have to do, and then put the trailer in, and that's it, and throw my watermark on there. Then you're making, the video that I have the most views on my channel has about 15,000 views. The fact that these people doing these trailer re-uploads get more likes on all of those trailer uploads than my highest viewed video aggravates me, because I don't think it takes any skill or any decent amount of time to put into it to do it. And they also make a good bit of money off of it. I mean, I'm pretty confident that T Martin and Allier are both making 6 figures, but if you add up all their view money and sponsorships and everything put together, basically just from doing this. I know
Yeah, but
Wagman has
there's
opposing.
a huge difference though. T Martin and Allier are both news channels. The T Martin's first channel is a news channel. He doesn't do well, I tell you what, he does jumps and spots, which is like a sub
But
series,
he
but
rarely
mostly.
does that anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm actually very disappointed in that. But also, he's a news channel, just like Ali A is a news channel, and I guess he also does some top 10 stuff or whatever. I don't follow him at all. Um, whereas I do, for disclosure purposes, I do follow T Martin. Anyway, they deserve to be able to re-upload this because of what they bring to the Call of Duty community. They have I don't know how many subscribers each of them have, but
They both got, I think Allier's close to 2 million and T Martin's at 1.1 million at the moment.
good grief. Anyway, they've united that many people to watch their content because of something, because they worked their way up, and I really believe that it was easier for them than it is for you or I or Gameside or I'm sorry, Bonfire or anybody. Punkman 80 excuse me. Punkman 87 has a pretty good channel. And he does some really cool stuff, but I think it's harder for all of us than it is for T Martin whenever he was trying to come up, whenever it was for Woody. It's harder for us than it is for them because of their existence, and I think that adds to your frustration. But the fact of the matter is that they deserve to be able to make money off of anything that they get to do. And I consider their ability to re-upload like a kind of like an endorsement. Just like, you don't I don't care how good Reeboks are, but if Peyton Manning says, "Try these Reeboks. They're really awesome. They'll make you a better quarterback." That's a sponsorship, that's a deal that he gets. He's going to get paid for that. And I'm sorry, I'm distracted. The team envy's getting introduced right now, but
Yeah, we're watching MLG on Saturday as we speak, guys.
watch
So we're kind of. But
a little
anyways,
bit distracted. You'll have to forgive us. Anyway, so it's kind of like an endorsement deal for them to be able to re-upload trailers, put very little to no effort. Well, it takes some effort still, but to put very little effort into it and be able to re-upload it. I don't mind because it's kind of like they're being thrown a bone, and you're talking about making 150 to $250, maybe 500 at the extreme level off of a re-upload. And it's kind of like, well, you've worked your way up there. I mean, T. Martin was the contributor to the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 users manual
yeah, that's
guide
true.
thing. I mean, it's not like he's a bum. It's not like he just got lucky and
Right, you're
I ain't
right.
got time for that because I got bronchitis and then just got lucky. I mean, he's put some good work in over the past couple of years to make his channel what it is. But T. Martin,
But
give me a shout out because I'm defending you.
yeah, but here, like, T Martin was the first ever Call of Duty YouTuber I watched, okay? I looked up how to get better at Modern Warfare 3 at the beginning of Modern Warfare 3's life cycle, and he popped up, and I found all of his tips and tricks videos, and I started watching all those, and that's how I got into YouTube. The fact
Wow.
that, the fact that now
Kind
we
of
go
scary.
back, the fact that we go back and look at his channel now, and out of the last 8 videos he's uploaded as of today, all of them except one are console news or E3 gameplay. Like
Yeah,
I count 4 E3 gameplay trailer re-uploads. One Xbox One versus PlayStation 4, which has been done at least 5 times by every commentator, including us. So I can't even take a shot at that. One was about the Xbox DRM, and one was about PlayStation news. So, in the fact that he built this channel, like I feel like it's also bad because he built his channel on tips and tricks, right? And he hit basically that's how his channel got big. He got into the 6-figure sub market and everything. Then once he has all these subs, he just completely just abandons that. And he always talks about, I'm going to get back on the tips and tricks bandwagon and stuff and all that stuff. And then he never does it. All he does is keep uploading this stuff. And I don't know. I think it takes minimal effort at best. And like when you were talking about the whole endorsements and everything, like for example, whenever a Call of Duty patch comes out, I usually make a video giving my thoughts on the patch. Like I'll discuss, do I think the gun they buff needs to be buffed, or I think the gun they nerf needs to be nerfed, stuff like that. But if all I did, I feel like that's okay if you take a news topic and give your opinions on it and discuss it, because you're putting something of yourself into it, as opposed to just saying, here's what happened, I'm done. Like there's a difference in that, I think, personally.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I was
My
gonna say, well,
position is there is a difference, but I don't care. I really don't care. If you put up a video, I tell you what, here's the deal. I've seen the trailer. I'm gonna watch it on probably the first person's channel that I get to that I'm subscribed to. If it's Woody's channel, I'm gonna watch it on Woody's channel. If it's your channel, I'm gonna watch it on yours. Whoever uploads it first, it's a race for us. And I'm gonna watch it there. Once I've seen it, I don't care. How long is it? Well, it's 3 minutes long. Well, his is 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and his is 2 minutes and 55 seconds, and they're all around 3 minutes. I don't care if it's 7 minutes long. Oh, he put some commentary on it. I may watch his specifically for the commentary. Other than that, it's just a race to see who can get it up there for me to see first.
yeah, regarding just re-uploading like a trailer or something like that, my personal opinion on it is I just think it's kind of stupid, and I don't think they should get paid for that because, I mean, you're stealing someone else's video and then talking about it, just saying quick little 30 seconds on it. It it bugs me that they'd make money off that because the whole controversial copyright thing I think plays a little bit. Now I would understand if they were sponsored by Treyarch or had a partnership with them to upload those types of videos.
No, wait, they are though. I'm gonna interrupt you there. That I've heard Woody, I've heard T Martin both say that they have been asked by, you know what? I'm not gonna say by some developer there. They've been asked by Call of Duty to re-upload these trailers, and I don't know that they get paid for it, but they are asked by somebody
Well,
who's important over there
it's
to
a win-win
please.
for Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Exactly,
no, and I
they know
understand that. Yeah, now see that makes a little more sense if they're asked to do it. I can understand that. I still think it's kind of stupid because you're just regurgitating what's already out there. But I understand from a business standpoint, from Call of Duty and Activision, that it's smart to have those big YouTubers do that. I think they shouldn't get paid on those particular videos. Maybe they should just get like a flat, fee from the developer to do that. And
Here's what
Let
we're
me-
try not
talking
to
about.
open
Let me
up too much.
throw out a scenario. You can go first, Whiteman, but I got a scenario to throw out after that.
If you'll pimp my stuff, I'll let you keep all of the proceeds off of it. That's what we're talking about. I've got a thing here, and if you'll say it's this awesome, if you'll give it a 10 out of 10 or whatever, if you'll just put it back up, if you'll regurgitate it, you can keep all the proceeds off of it. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a business deal where the gamer, the YouTuber comes out on top.
Well, let me pose this to you. Let's say I run a community gaming channel, right? Like where I'm sure you guys are familiar with channels like this, where channels will basically be a community channel, and they'll get video submissions from small YouTubers, and they'll upload them to try to give them more exposure, right? That kind of
Yep.
concept.
I don't
So
ever watch any of
I don't
those.
watch them, but I'm just saying they do exist. But
Yeah,
I don't
I've seen
watch
them.
I don't watch them either. But is it right if I run a community channel and I upload one video a day, videos that I do nothing. The video gets submitted to me and then I upload it. I literally all I do is do the uploading process out of that like 5-step process that we talked about earlier. I only do the uploading part. Is it okay for me to then, let's say that video goes viral and I earn $100 off of it? Is it okay for me to take that money when all I did was literally take somebody else's video and upload it? Now, I
Yes.
understand that they give them the permission to upload it, and like just like Activision allows any channel to upload the trailers, but fundamentally, from a right and wrong standpoint, is that okay? Because I feel like it's kind of not right, personally.
Yes.
Why?
Because it was given to them. If something is given to you and they say, here, you have a platform, make something out of this, and you go, okay, on my platform all I have to do is set it on it, and basically all I have to do is upload it without doing any color correction or anything whatsoever. I'm just going to put it out there, I'm going to regurgitate it. If it becomes popular after that, that doesn't change the fact that you gave it to me. You gave it to me hoping that I would upload it, hoping that I would do something with it, and I did. The amount of success that it receives after that is should not enter into the equation of its value.
Right, but I understand, but don't you think that it's kind of an underhanded tactic in a way though? Like here's a real life example. Like let's say your grandfather dies and he leaves you a baseball signed by Babe Ruth in his will. And you decide, you know what, I'm going to go sell this on eBay, and you make a bunch of money off of it, because obviously you would make a bunch of money off of something like that on eBay or whatever. Don't you think it's like technically it was given to you and it belongs to you and you can do whatever you want with it? But don't you think that in a way it's kind of not right for you to do something like that?
You know, I don't see it that way so much. I see it more like I'm buying you a scratch off ticket. I'm going to give it to you for your birthday. It doesn't matter how much you win or lose with that scratch off ticket. It's yours and it's yours to keep, and you owe me nothing for it. If you win $5,000 on that scratch off ticket, enjoy yourself. Happy birthday. If you win $5 or nothing at all, happy birthday. It's still the same happy birthday, regardless of how much you won with that scratch off ticket. That
Okay.
that that that's very specifically how I feel about
Okay.
the re-uploads.
Okay, well, I'll ask both of you then, because Bonfire hasn't gotten this conversation much, but he is the
I'm
referee.
sorry.
But
That's okay.
but I'll pose this question to both of you. When you see, like I brought up the example of those videos getting more likes than my most viewed video ever. When you
Right.
see, Allier re-upload or upload a sorry, gathering my words. When you see Allier upload the DLC trailer with 15 seconds of commentary in front of it explaining what it is, and that video gets more views than all of the videos on your channel combined, does it make you angry or aggravate you or give you any kind of negative feeling? Because for me, it's not like I'm mad at the person, because like I said before the show, like, and I've said this about many kinds of content, like, if you have an audience that's willing to watch your content, good for you, okay? Like Minnesota Burns. I
Absolutely.
don't like Minnesota Burns' content. I think his trolls are unoriginal, and I think they're too repetitive. But he's got, over 1 million subscribers who think differently from me, and that's good for him. But does it not just make you feel like that dude's putting no effort in and he's getting 20 times the rewards that I am for putting in more effort than him, and I'm being more creative and I'm arguably putting out better content, but he's getting way more success for doing something that anybody could do? Because anybody could do what they do.
I couldn't. I think it's stupid. I'd get bored with myself. But I agree with you. I agree with your premise.
Bonfire.
For me, it can be a little aggravating, but my thing is that whether I agree with him just regurgitating that or not, he's gotten to where he is through hard work and through dedication, putting a lot of time into his channel with whatever he did in the past. Again, I didn't follow these guys for very long, and I don't tend to watch a lot of the big YouTubers just because I feel like it's a lot of regurgitation. But they work for where they are, and once you get to a certain point, you can do that. So
I
yeah,
agree.
it's frustrating, but they're allowed to do that because they've put in the time and effort to get where they are.
All right, that's fair. I
That
think they should stick to whatever got them to the top, but I mean, once you get to the top and you have that much
See now
control, then, it is what it is.
that's
Yeah.
more my aggravation than the specific re-upload in that I very much like you started watching T Martin because somebody else said if you want to see how to do that, you should watch a T Martin video on that. So I did.
Right.
And I subscribed to him because I needed to know all those grenade spots. I needed to know all of those jumps. He did stuff that I did that I thought was really cool and was effective for me. And now he doesn't do anything like that, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm still subscribed to him, other than the fact
Exactly.
that he's like breaking news. This just happened. Okay, that still provides value for me, but it's not why I watched you originally. Why I'm here at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one thing you said earlier that I didn't get to comment on Whackman was you talked about
Right.
Activision going to these big YouTubers and saying, "Hey, you can keep the proceeds if you upload this and give it a whatever or talk good about it." And that almost imposes on saying that you can keep all the money if you repost this and give it a good score. So, if you review this and talk it up, you can keep the money, which is almost skewing the actual product and skewing reviews.
I agree with you to a small point, but not completely, and that's because when T Martin re-uploads a video and says, "Oh, this is the best thing ever," he's put his stamp of approval on it, and if it's crap, he has to own personally and with his brand that it was not what he said it was. So, yeah, if you want to sell your opinion, you better hope that you're selling it to people who are going to make you shine and not people who are going to give you, a bad product.
Yeah.
I
Don't
mean, but
sponsor
you're
scuff when you've
absolutely
never
right.
played with a scuff, kind of thing. I
But
mean,
But if you want to go to strictlybusinessgaming.com, you can find all kinds of terrific stuff there. Um, Game battles, you can find other players to play with. There's a community aspect to it, and there is stuff there for you. And that is definitely a reputable site that you should check out if you've not been there before.
absolutely, absolutely. Great transition. Great transition over to, I guess our next topic, which is this hasn't got as much publicity, so I'll give a background of what it basically is. Basically, there's a teenager. I believe he was 19 years old.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what it said
not.
in the
Yeah,
article.
I'll
Yeah.
link the article in the description of the video if I remember, which I probably won't, but I'll try. He basically made a violent joke while playing the popular game League of Legends. and he has been jailed for a couple months now, and he's facing an 8-year prison sentence. Now, I'm going to repeat what he said exactly, and it's kind of graphic. There's no profanity, but it's kind of.
Are you sure you want to repeat it exactly, considering that guy went to jail for it?
Yeah, I
Well,
would
Well, it is
repeat it.
quoted in the
yeah, I'm
article. Okay,
quoting
I'm
him. So I
sorry.
mean, and it's not bad from like a profanity standpoint. I'll give a run over. Basically, he's playing League of Legends. For those of you who haven't played League of Legends, most of the chatting, unless you're playing like competitively, goes on in a text form in-game chat. Um, and somebody basically said he was insane or something like that. I'm assuming it's some kind of joke or something. Somebody basically said he was insane. And he replied, "Oh yeah, I'm real messed up in the head. I'm going to go shoot up a school full of kids and eat their hearts." And then he said, "LOL, JK," which, as you know, implies that he was completely joking and has no intention of actually going and shooting up a school full of kids. Now, as gamers, we would look at this and say, okay, he was making a joke. Is it kind of odd, kind of out there? Yes. Would I say something like that? No, because I think it would probably cause an awkward silence because it is kind of out there. But I think we can all agree logically and rationally that it doesn't imply that he has any intention of actually doing that. But somebody, I forget what exactly happened. You guys can read the article to find out exactly what happened. But basically, somebody saw it somewhere and ended up calling the police and reporting it. And now he's been in jail for a couple months for technically threatening a terrorist attack or something of that nature, and is facing several years in jail. And it's like the equivalent of basically using, like in Call of Duty, you throw out a homophobic slur at someone because they killed you with a target finder. It's more or less essentially that, but now he's potentially going to jail for it. So, thoughts?
Well, I think that it's being a little blown out of proportion. Now, I agree that the comment was a little you crossed the line. I mean, and a little out
It's a
there.
little
Probably should.
odd.
Yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't say that given the current happenings that happened last December. But he was joking. He's not going to do that. And I think it's just really being played up and going overboard, by the media and the police, I guess, because I gamers have been in the media a lot lately because the people who have been involved in these shootings were allegedly gamers, and to be honest, I feel like it's just another target on gamers, giving the media and I guess the government a reason to go after gamers for what we enjoy doing because we're all a bunch of psycho people, and I think it's a little stereotypical and a little overboard.
Call of Duty makes me want to go shoot people. But anyways, WhackMed, go ahead.
Call of Duty does not make me want to shoot anyone. Call of Duty gives me more respect for other people. Um, I this kid wrote something down. You'd never write
Yeah.
anything
Do
down.
not
If
put anything in writing or on paper because somebody will find it. Listen to everybody out there.
no,
Somebody will find it.
now here's one thing that all of us will completely agree on, and that is everything we record in our videos, we know we have to own up to. In 10 years, I'll have to own up to what I said and released on YouTube because I said it and I released it. And if you write it down, it's even worse for you. Now, I have trash talks and my profanity is always clean, although my subject matter is not always the best, and I've been working on that. Um, but the the things that you say are passing and they're fleeting, unless you believe the NSA is as bad as they actually are. But the things that you write down are permanent. Anything you write down and transmit to anywhere is completely permanent. And this kid made the mistake of writing it down. Now, did he say anything that was way off base or out of line? I don't know. I've got a pretty weird mind, and I can see what he said as being funny. I actually think it's kind of funny in a sense. Do I want
Yeah.
anybody to shoot up a school? No, it makes me sick. My kids go to school. I went to school. My parents went to school. I don't want anybody to shoot up any school anywhere. That being said, this kid was trash talking, and that's completely obvious. Very completely obvious. And what he should learn is you can't write things down.
Yeah. That's the bigger lesson here.
That's the bigger lesson. And you really should be polite to people just in general. But you, jail's too much. Jail's just too much.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
like
gonna say, is 8 years worth the
No.
punishment to learn not to write something down like that?
no. Because eight
Uh,
years, and let's be honest, if you go to jail for 8 years, your life is more or less just completely derailed. Like, because
oh,
now,
totally. Especially at his age.
no college, having a record with, that'll affect your ability to get a job in the future, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, it's like, I think about this sometimes as well when I'm making videos, because obviously I'm younger and I'm still in high school. I think about, if I end up becoming somewhat big on YouTube by the time I get to go to college, which hopefully I will, but then what's going to stop my college that I'm applying for from saying, okay, this kid looks all right, he seems like somebody we'd want to accept. Let's just go see what he talks about on his YouTube channel just to make sure everything's all good and he's not like cussing people out all the time, right? So when I
What?
upload a video, I have to think about like it's the old saying like would you say what you just said in front of your grandmother? Like
Right.
that's the people say that. My parents tell me that all the time, which is why whenever I try not to like whenever I text people or talk to people on Skype, I try not to put anything in writing that's negative about other people all the time. But it's that's really the big mistake is putting stuff in writing, and you have to think, as soon as you would transmit anything over the internet, it can be seen by anybody around the world, and they can do anything they want with it. So you just have to have that in mind all the time. And I think Bondfire was making a good comment about the whole public perception of gamers and things like that. Anyways, but WakMed is spamming the chat about my grandmother comments, so I'm gonna let him get his words in.
So the thing is, what you say you have to own up to. When I was 15 years old, when I was 15, 16,
Was that in the dinosaur age?
something. Shut
Oh
up.
man.
Oh, sorry, it was right there. It was
Wow.
right.
Jeez.
It
Okay,
was
how
right
about this? When I
there.
Provided
was
this
in
kid.
high school, dang, that hurt. That stings a little. Oh wait,
Oh
that's
my god.
gas. Anyway, I went to summer school. I always got good grades. The only reason I went to summer school was because you could take driver's ed in summer school. You could spend 2 weeks taking driver's ed. It would lower your parents' insurance rates, and it only took 2 weeks as opposed to a whole semester at my high school. Okay, it's a good deal for my parents. It's not so tough on me, and it's me being able to provide something back to my parents because I'm driving their stuff. So I go to driver's ed for 2 weeks. Well, towards the very end of driver's ed, maybe it was only 1 week. It doesn't matter. Towards the very end of the class, everybody skipped Friday because you were given one day off. So this was Wednesday. Wednesday, it must have been. We were changing the tire. Everybody was learning how to change a tire, whether you knew how or not. You had to change a tire. The guys who had could prove that they could talk you through changing a tire. We didn't have to actually change it, so we got to watch the girls change it, which, by the way, great thing to do. I'm married now, so I don't care about that anymore. But for you guys in high school, check that out. Um, we're sitting on a curb, and there's this guy over talking trash, and he's just talking whatever. And one guy to my left, sitting on the curb with me, says, "Hey," it doesn't say it to me. He says it to the guy between us.
Hmm.
Says, "Hey, I'll give you $1 to throw a rock and hit that guy in the mouth with it."
Oh
And
god.
I looked at him and said,
Something's about to go down.
I'll give you two." Well, the guy who initially talked doesn't throw a rock. He stands up, walks over to the trash talking kid, punches him square in the mouth. I mean,
Mm.
bop, and knocks him on his butt. The kid's, I mean, his
You know.
pride got
Right.
wounded more than anything. But he goes to the office. His mom comes and picks him up, takes him to the hospital,
Oh
has a
god.
CAT scan ran on his brain. I don't know if they actually found anything or not, but that may be impolite to say. We wound up getting arrested. I got arrested at 15 years old
I
because
that
I
is a
said,
record.
"I'll give you two." That was my statement, my complete statement. The guy that hit him said in his statement, "I would have hit him no matter what. I was going to hit him anyway." He was running his mouth and needed to be shut up. I still get arrested because it's solicitation to commit aggravated battery. So I'm like 6'4". At that point, I weighed 200 pounds, 6'4", 200 pounds. I was a pretty big guy. Played football, weightlifting. I can beat up whoever. Well, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I couldn't beat up anybody. I just don't have the heart for it.
You
But
can
I could
hold your own
handle
in a
myself.
fight.
I could handle myself in a fight if I wanted to. And I get arrested for solicitation to come aggravate. It's what you say. It's what you write down. It's what you put on paper. If you commit to saying I will, then you can be held accountable to it in a court of law. And that's something that we're not I mean, kids are burning up their Twitter, their Facebook, and their text accounts like crazy at 13 years old, saying stuff like this. They have no idea what they're saying. They think it's funny. They're looking for an emotional response. And the fact is, all of this can be held to you. And it's something that's not being taught to kids nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. And just the
Yeah.
whole situation of like people. I also think that back to Bondfire, one thing that he touched on was um, about how the perception of gamers. Like I think this perfectly exhibits how people don't really understand the whole gaming, culture, if you will, if that's the right word. Because us as gamers, we're like, okay, we get called the worst names in the book on a daily basis for the strategy we use in Call of Duty. This kid making this comment on League of Legends, it's no big deal, whatever. Like, there's no way if the legal system was made up of us three, this kid would be off with no consequences. I'm assuming, at least he would be if it were me. I don't know, maybe a little bit if you were guys, but like in general, like people they say, oh my god, this kid's threatening to kill someone. No, he's not. He's not threatening to kill anybody. But maybe people don't really understand that if they're not really involved in the culture of, online gaming and online discussion in general.
Well, as kids, because this guy is a kid, even though he's 19. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you say to your friends and people who you play competitively with, whether it is an actual sport and say football or basketball or online gaming. I mean that's what kids do, and I just think it's being blown out of proportion as we've gone over the decades. It's just more and more being blown up. Like kids can't do anything these days. They can't be kids. Oh, I understand bullying is a big problem, but that's part of being a kid. I mean, kids are going to pick on other kids. I mean, yeah, it gets a little out of hand at times. I agree, but
Right. And if it gets out of hand, that's an issue. But like a situation
yeah,
like this, then it's not really. It's just a random comment, made. Whereas, like, there's a difference. Like, there's a fine line between this, something like this, and then having a situation where maybe somebody, like, I've been harassed. Like, there's a guy who was harassing me on Xbox Live once, and he kept threatening to knock my internet offline and DDoS me, and he kept threatening, and I didn't want anything to deal with this guy. This guy's like 22 years old or something. He's like an adult, basically, or a young adult
Kid.
that is. But he kept saying that he was gonna, knock me offline and to call me names and stuff. And I'm like, you know what, screw this guy. And I went to Xbox Live support and I talked to someone on the phone and he got suspended from Xbox Live for 2 weeks because I was tired of it. So a situation like that is a little bit over the line, I guess, where you're like kind of calling someone out or going after someone, but making a small offhand comment like this is kind of, I wouldn't consider that to be anything like bullying or anything like that personally.
I agree. And what it should teach everyone is not to speak so negatively about one another. And uh, one of the reasons I'm on this podcast to begin with is because of my insight. And one of the things that gives me insight is my faith and my belief. And I'm not going to talk about that here. I'm not going to push it down anyone's throats. If you have questions, PM me, and I will be happy to talk to you about it. But over my game setup is that I have two monitors. One that my computer's on one, my gaming's on the other. My computer's linked. I'm actually watching Call of Duty on my TV that I game on, and it's right next to my monitors. Two monitors right next to each other. Over that monitor that I game with, I have a scripture written, and the scripture is, "Let no corrupting talk out of your mouth come out of your mouths, but only as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Because when I game, I want to destroy you, not only in the game, but emotionally, and I want to tear you down. And so to subdue that and to remember that I'm better than to just trash talk, I have that there to remind me this is not something I am. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy sitting in jail for 8 years for poking fun at somebody else. I don't want to be the guy who winds up doing as much community service as I had to do for saying I'll give you $2 to go throw a rock at him. I'm not that guy. I'm better than that, and that's not a good person to be. And I don't think enough emphasis is put on being a good person anymore. That used to be huge. You know, to your
I
great
agree.
grandparents, it used to be really huge to be a good person and to be thought of well. And anymore, there's so many people and so much anonymity that who cares who you are? If I don't like you, I'll go associate with anybody else.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point. And as you know, in my short lifetime, I've seen the world change right before me. Because growing up for me, if I got trouble school, I get beat when I get home or something like that, and there is consequences for what you do. And I feel like it's and things weren't blown out of proportion the way they are now. And as times progressed, I mean, there's been less emphasis with on the younger generation of kids on being a good person and owning up to your actions and taking responsibility for what you do. And things are just blown out of proportion. I can't stress that enough.
Okay, well, if we want to transition to kind of what you guys are getting at a little bit with people not being as, I don't really know how to put it, not focusing on being a good person as much
Not
anymore,
genuine.
if you will.
Yeah.
I personally, like, you're about to make me go on a rant about my generation as a whole because I think it's terrible. I just think people have, like, there's so much less respect for your elders. I mean, if you go on YouTube and search skateboarder versus and just type that in, hit enter, you'll see kids, beating up old men and stuff or getting in arguments with police officers and stuff. Like, there's no respect for people of a higher authority than you or people who are elder to you and stuff like that. And there's no like professionalism in people. And like, for example, I made that commentary about being professional. Like, that applies to not just like gaming or if you're trying to be an athlete or whatever, but just generally in life, act mature. And I think that people are acting less and less mature. And like, I look at most of the people who are my age in the world, and I think, how in the world is this person going to contribute anything positive to society? And unfortunately, I feel like the number of people you could say that about is rising in general. Just, this is kind of me going on a little mini rant related to WakMed's comment, but I don't know. I just think that as far as comparing something like poking fun at someone on a video game is one thing, but in general, people are not. People do need to be more thoughtful with their words and what they say. Like WakMed was saying, he has a scripture that he uses to remind him not to don't call out some 7-year-old you
Don't be
beat
a
the crap
jerk.
out of in Call of Duty because you're better than him at Call of Duty. Be smarter with your words and stuff like that, and just be a good person in general. I think that's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, it's a great point to bring up, and I think that one of the reasons that so much of your generation, and it's going to be even worse with like my kids' generation, is that, and to preface that, I guess I'm calling a generation about every 10 years or so, um, the protection that the parents give. Now, when I was in
Oh my
school,
God! Don't get me started. Go
yeah,
ahead.
well, I'm gonna try to push through it instead of stick with it, but
Yeah, go ahead.
to push through it, when I was a kid, my grandmother worked at the school that I went to. She was a librarian's assistant. It was just kind of something for her to do during the day, and made her feel good. And I mean, her husband was at work. My grandfather was at work. She got to go to work and be away from the house. And school hours are great for her. So that was good. That was good to give her entertainment and provide something for her during the day. To move on, it meant that I had somebody at the school there with me all the time. And instead of the principal giving me spankings, they'd call her in because the principal really wasn't supposed to spank me.
Bust out the
And
paddle.
and I remember one of the statements that she made during one of those episodes was that in my day the principal would have done this. But I'm gonna do this because I'm your grandmother, and you know better than to act like whatever it was that I had done. And so I'd get my just deserves from her, And then I'd go home and get my just deserved from mom. And then when dad got home, I'd get just deserved from dad. And it apparently didn't work because I'm still a horrible person, but I'm working on that.
Nowhere to give it up.
Yeah. Not to let you in on a little secret here, but so my parents, if I had done something wrong, I got what I deserved from my parents. And now parents are like, you just don't do that to my child. You won't spank my child. You won't discipline my child. That's my job. Well, okay, fine. If it's your job, do your job.
Exactly, do it.
And the other thing is, if your 13-year-old kid's writing bad stuff on Call of Duty, don't be mad at Call of Duty because it incited these comments. Be mad at yourself because number one, you have to be 17 years old to buy this game.
True that.
And number two, do you know what this game's about? This game's about killing people. This game's about, it's kind of like overglorified paintball, in my opinion. But a lot of people don't distinguish the difference in reality and gaming. And I've seen that personally. And I've seen medical reports where they say kids don't understand the difference. And the thing is, how can you trust the subjective nature of what a child says? Because so much of what he says comes out of what he thinks is appropriate to say to an adult. And if he's being advocated to play these games by an adult, if it's okayed by mom and dad, then whatever's in this game must be okay. And that's a whole nother topic altogether. But kids are not being taught bad stuff happens. People die. And as I'm watching JCap go off again in this game on Major League Gaming in this competition, I'm reminded that kids don't understand that if this were real life, that person would be dead. His mother would be receiving a letter. His wife would be receiving a letter. His children would never see him at Christmas again. And yes, this is a game, but it's based off of removing someone else from existence.
Right.
And that is not
the weight of that does not set in.
Absolutely. It's the weight of it is absolutely a correct way to put that. It's the consequences are not addressed with kids like they should, and we try here on 3-Bar Exploits to steer away from any political talk just for the specifics of it being political, but understand that consequences are there for every action that you do. And I guess that would be almost a good way to wrap this up, but we'll move on in a minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what you said as far as, you getting a spanking when you get home from your parents because you screwed up at school. And, you can't do that nowadays. And I've seen that transitioning from, when I grew up to seeing some kids now. And it boggles my mind because kids are so sheltered these days. At least that's the way it seems to me, is they're so sheltered. You don't get punished for doing things because God forbid you hit your child. Sometimes your kid deserves it. Your kid mouths off at you, he deserves a slap in the face with some soap down his throat because you can't talk like that to your elders. And like you were saying, right. Tactical, respect to your elders. And I just feel like because of the lack of discipline that doesn't happen within the home these days, and the government trying to step in and say you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot do with your kids, that's what's causing this generational change and a lot of the things that we're seeing nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. And, there's a fine line between spanking your kid because they screwed up or something, which happened to me several times as a young child, and abuse. And I think people are blurring the line. There's a difference. Like, abusing your child is not okay, but giving them, hitting them or, like, spanking them or something once or twice, not over the line because they did something that's completely intolerable isn't that, sometimes it's warranted depending on the situation, I would say. Exactly. Kind of what you're saying, and that's kind of what the deal is.
It's also a precursor for life. If I screw up at my job, I have to pay consequences to my employer.
That's right.
If you've never paid consequences for anything you've ever done, to your parents, to your principal, to your grades, to anything, how are you going to be able to accept the fact that you're going to be fired for saying something completely outlandish like this Texas teen did to a customer?
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
fair. Yeah,
People don't
great
learn.
point.
Not enough people are learning how to act in the real world and how what you have to be accountable for and things like that.
Which brings up a great topic. There is a commercial.
Oh
How do we fit
God,
this in? How do we fit this in? This is how you fit it in. There's
let's
a
hear it.
commercial that's been running through MLG. It's the first time I've seen it. It's a NOS energy drink commercial, which I don't endorse. I'm much more of a Monster guy. However, this kid's
Rockstar.
all uh, playing up. Oh, he exudes this energy that he is the best boxer or grappler or UFC fighter or whatever. And this Vin Diesel look-alike punches him square in the throat, knocks him flat to the mat, and and the point of the commercial is no nonsense, drink NOS. It kind of makes me want a NOS just because it's like, okay, they get that
We ain't
you're
taking
running
no
your mouth.
bull crap.
Sometimes you just deserve what you get. But
Yeah,
That's a good
sometimes
point.
you deserve what you get, and I'm getting tore up in the chat about I had
we
to
talked about this whack man. We talked about the commercial.
you don't. There's no way to fit this commercial in. There's no. Yeah. Okay. I hope it worked.
You
Leave in
did.
the chat.
It worked a little bit. I'll give you credit. It made sense.
You got a good
Okay. And
tie-in.
and so from there you transition into any other story. I'm not going to dictate the story. Somebody else dictate the story. What's next?
Bonfire, why don't you choose out of our list here?
Oh, God, I don't even know what the list is. Well, you
We
know
got
what?
Zimmerman, we got Snowden, we got MLG.
Let's talk about um, Snowden. You
All
guys are gonna
right,
have to give background on that one, though.
all right. I guess
Uh,
I'll get unless Whackman wants to get the background. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Blackman, why don't you do it?
my background on it is slightly slanted because of my political dealings, but I'll be happy to go ahead. So Snowden is an agent that worked for the government. I'm not sure what particular branch he worked for. Um, he he had information. He's got information on how the government spies on the United States government spies on United States citizens and what the NSA, National Security Agency, I think is what NSA stands for. I didn't even know you could get on top of that van. I'm sorry, I'm still watching MLG. He worked for NSA. Okay, he worked for NSA, and what he did was he said the government is able to tap your phones. They're able to basically get a warrant from a judge on a "because I want to" basis, quote unquote. And what he did was he'd get these topic, or he let everyone know that the government was being able to see into your personal life. And because was a quote unquote whistleblower, he's actually was going to be brought up on treason charges, which he could be hanged for. I think hanging is still the specific punishment for this crime, but it would be
They
death.
still did do the
Death is
death penalty.
yes, treason has only one punishment, and that is the death penalty. And so because they get him on treason, they're going to get him on not embezzlement, but another charge that's very similar to the same. What he did was he said, "Hey, Americans, the government's spying on you," and because he said that and gave specific inferences on how the government was spying on us, he's actually subject to some very stiff penalties. Um, the fact of the matter is that some people, including myself, and this is where I will say that's the background, and this is my delineation from the background into my topic. Some people view him as a hero in standing up and saying what the government's doing here is wrong. And because it's wrong, I'm going to let everyone know it so that possibly a change can come to happen, so that possibly this will stop. And in my opinion, he's done us a service. He's done us as a people a service, even though our government, and there's a great disconnect, in my opinion, in my eyes, between us as a people and us as a government. And I'm really trying not to be so political about it, but I think Snowden has done us a service. And he is very intelligent. Now, the dangerous thing, in my opinion, the more dangerous thing is now he's on the lam. He's on the run. Our government's trying to track him down, and he knows that he will face the death penalty or pretty much life in
Yeah.
prison for what he has done, and he has 3 laptops full of information. 3 laptops. That's hard drives full of stuff, and he needs asylum somewhere. What does he have to purchase this asylum with? Whatever's on those 3 laptops, and it may be my bank account. It may be my phone calls. It may be the password to Tactical Oyster's AdSense account where he can get paid for his
Y'all better
videos.
not be messing with that ish.
Yeah. So whatever's on these 3 laptops is more my concern than anything else. I kind of view him as a hero. Does somebody want to see the other side of that?
Well, I've actually already got an Inside the Mind of Oyster recorded on this topic, so I don't want to give too much in because I don't want to give away basically what I say in the video. But all I'll say is that this is absolutely not treason in any way, and I know a lot of people, lots of kids around my age who are like hardcore liberal or libertarian or whatever, anything anti-government, and we don't like anything the government does, and America sucks, and we're gonna protest every possible protestable item that exists. And I'm usually sitting there laughing at those people like, you guys are getting way torn up about stuff that's not a big deal, and you guys just don't understand the way the world works. If Edward Snowden gets put to death or gets thrown in prison for life, I will legitimately, like, I would get aggravated about that, and I would legitimately, sign a petition or protest about that, because that is just completely, I'm trying to keep the right words here, it's just completely idiotic.
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, if someone who's a spy or commits treason, that'd be like if the U.S. government gave me weapon secrets and I went over to North Korea and said, "Hey, Kim Jong Un or whatever your name is, I'm gonna give you these weapon secrets for $50,000," and I did that. That's treason. But finding out that people are being spied on by the government and then telling those people who are citizens of that government is not wrong. It's right, and I think it'd be a complete abuse of power by the government to put him away or anything like that. It makes America look bad completely in general, the government at least.
I actually agree with both of you. I see him more as a hero, if you will. I don't even know if that's the right word, but because the American public deserve to know what their government is doing. And I understand that some of the things they, have to keep a secret, to protect ourselves against other countries, but spying on your own people, just that, to me, that's not right. It's an invasion of privacy, and using this as an excuse, or using the excuse to protect us from terrorism, that's an excuse. You know what? If you want to protect us from terrorism, and I'm not trying to open a can of worms here, stop letting illegals in this country. But as far
Boom!
as boom, I
And
know,
there we go, political, even more so.
I don't want to get too political, but we
So
do
to
seem
get
to be.
away from being political, Envy just won, which puts Optic versus Envy. And here's what I would. This
That's gonna be
game's
good.
going to already be played by the time this gets published. But here's what I want. Here's what I envision. This would be awesome. You know what would be awesome?
Optic
Woody's
losing.
gamer tag is. I'm sorry. I'm going to like totally. This is my chat for just a
WakMed is
moment.
just
My
taking
rant.
over. WakMed
I'm
is
so
going
sorry.
NSA on our
I'm.
podcast.
I'm going. Tactical Oyster from last week.
Oh,
Uh,
taking shots.
Optic Gaming has Woody's gamertag as an honorary member. Envy now has T Martin as a what is he? He's a manager. He's a co-owner or something like that. What I would love to see is Woody and T Martin sit down and make a dual com and watch these two teams play. So as they play, they're both able to yell at each other and kind of
That
do
would be interesting, actually.
that would be so
Interesting.
super interesting, and they'll never see this commentary until after the game's played, if they do watch it, because I know Woody's a big fan of mine.
T. Martin
he
likes and
likes
favorites all my
he
videos,
likes and favorites all
even when
my
I'm bashing him.
absolutely. I would love to see those two sit down and argue about who's going to win this game. In fact, I think I'm going to tweet that out in just a minute. So y'all go ahead. I'm going to go tweet that.
WakMed is off. Anyways, back to Snowden. Um, I don't know.
I lost my train of thought.
I feel like
Thrown off guard.
I don't know. I just feel it's just wrong. And like, okay, first of all, were we all so naive to think that the government wasn't spying on us? I don't think we are. I mean, you had to think that there was something like that going on. I honestly don't care if the government's reading my text message or anything because I'm not doing anything wrong. I feel like it is, to disagree with Bonfire a little bit, it kind of is necessary in a way because if somebody is transmitting messages and talking about planning a terrorist attack or something, and the government can intercept those plans via spying on us, I'd rather them spy on us and read my text messages than have another Boston Marathon bombing. But the fact that they didn't say anything and then somebody did, and now they're acting like this is some giant, big, terrible thing that this person did is kind of screwed up.
Well, my problem with the whole thing is who's to say they're not going to use it against the public? So, for example, we have, a certain political party in power, and if they disagree with what you say politically, then who's to say you're not going to be a target for, maybe to be put in jail or even treason because you don't agree with what they're saying or what they're enforcing? Who's to say that's not what it's going to be used for, as well as give certain parties political advantages when it comes to campaign time, re-elections, because they have all the information on anyone regarding whatever they're saying, and that can be used against them. And so
I kind of
it's just not
understand
right.
what you're saying. I just I don't know. I don't see how the information could be used. I mean, obviously it could be used in a way that could be really bad, like throwing someone in jail for disagreeing with the government or what have you. But I think realistically speaking, that probably wouldn't happen. Like, I mean, it's just like I think that if I send my friend a text message saying "LOL, Obama sucks," and Obama ends up seeing that somehow, I don't think he's gonna really care. Like that's the thing. Whereas if I'm sending a message saying, "Hey, you want to go blow up? You want to go back to the League of Legends kid? You want to go shoot up this school?" And they're gonna be like, "Holy crap, we need to get a hold of this dude immediately." But I think most people's everyday lives are relatively boring in the aspect of does the government care about what you're doing? So I just don't see it being a huge issue personally. Like it doesn't bother me knowing that they're reading my stuff.
Now, well, and maybe that's the case. Hopefully that's the case, but the way kind of things are going and the way, man, I'm not going to get too political. Let's move on.
Dang it! I wanted to hear what you were gonna say.
No,
Yes,
no, it's not
please. No,
necessary.
go ahead. Don't worry about your subscribers. First of all, Bonfire is who he is. Bonfire puts out awesome content. And you know what I like about Bonfire's content is that, and this is me trying to get you to finish your statement. Bonfire will reach back and he will grab all kinds of things gaming. If you like him for what he has to say about gaming, continue to follow him despite what his political advantages are. I could care less how anti-religious or religion neutral um, any of my people are that I follow. Sorry about the phone ring. I don't care what your religious affiliations are because I don't watch you for my sermons. I watch you
Right.
for your gaming content. And so that would be my admonishment to Bonfire. Please finish what you were saying
Yeah.
because they're watching you for your gaming stuff, and part of what makes your gaming stuff so valid is who you are as a person. Who you are as a person has about 47 seconds worth of something to say about what you were fixing to say.
Yeah, if you want anybody to go hate on or attack for being opinionated on religion and politics and stuff, come to my channel because I will give you all of that you want. So let's go and let Bonfire finish what he wants to
All right.
say
Well,
then.
I appreciate the statements, guys. So what I was going to say is that, in socialism, and this country isn't yet socialistic, but the government controls what you do and can, what you say. So in a socialistic society, if they have, access to all of your opinions and all of your information, then that can be used against you because you are technically against the government because you don't believe in what they're doing and can be used against you. So that's that. I'm hoping that's not the case with this. I'm trying to think positive, but that if that is the case, that's not right. And thank God now we know kind of what's going on. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was gonna say.
Good point.
All right. You guys want to? I know we have two potential topics left to discuss, and we're right around an hour in, so we've got plenty of time to discuss them. But just to kind of transition over back to the gaming side, you guys want to talk about MLG for a few minutes?
Sure. Well, a
Before
lighter
we get there,
topic. I
because
like.
they're on a break, I wanted to try to infuse these in. And they were silly little questions, and I've gotten so rant-tastic today, and I'm sorry for monopolizing so much of the time. But there's I can't preface it like this, but
Do it.
the questions are the silly little questions or party questions, and it's I wanted to feed one of them in, but now it seems so completely unnatural.
Do it. Do
Do
it.
it? Okay.
Do it, Dad.
Would you
That's how we
rather be
roll.
Bonfire?
Yep.
Would you rather be rich or healthy?
Oh God.
Would I rather be rich or healthy?
Would you rather be rich or healthy?
Is this in general?
Let's say rich is
I have a counter question to that.
without a need, and healthy as um relative health. Maybe you can't run a
Yeah,
marathon,
if I choose
but you can
healthy,
climb stairs without getting winded.
if I choose healthy, does that mean that I'm like living in like a 4 square foot apartment, but I'm like Mr. Universe? And if I choose rich, does that mean I'm Bill Gates, but I've got cancer and diabetes? Like, what's the line here as far as the
Yeah, we kind of
opposite
need some
end?
Oh,
parameters
it
here.
Yeah.
it's a small question. I
All
mean,
right.
don't feed.
I just wanted to
Like
clarify.
maybe we're overlooking it.
I just wanted to
Your
clarify.
concerns are definitely very, very worthy. But let's say rich is that you have an 8 to 5 job and you make $125,000 a year,
All
and you
right.
have and let's say healthy is that you can climb a flight of stairs without getting winded, and you're a little bit healthier than you are now. Maybe no, you don't even have a six pack, but you're a healthy person with no medical problems, and a generally decent physique.
All right,
I
Bonfire, you
don't
go
got a six
first.
pack. I mean, come on. I gotta have a six pack.
Everybody's got a six pack.
Well, to me, money's not everything. And though it would be nice not to have any financial worries or financial burdens, to me, quality of life is better. So living a healthier lifestyle and just being happy with my quality of life, I think I would lean towards being healthy over the money. And that's the
Yeah,
way I go.
I
Quality
think
over quantity.
I would go with healthy as well, with the assumption that I was still living comfortably. Like, if you're making, 6 figures, well over 6 figures, whatever it is, then you're, having some luxuries in life. But I would choose healthy with the assumption that, you're not living paycheck to paycheck and you still have enough money to splurge on something every now and then, and, you still live a decent quality of life from the financial standpoint. But if we're choosing between, do I have the income of a McDonald's worker versus being healthy, then I might go to the money side. But I think in general, I'd go with the healthy part as well.
Hey, you could
Valid
be a
sub
McDonald's. You could be a McDonald's worker and own the franchise and still be making bank.
Okay, you know what? No, we're not going there.
valid
Don't
sub
spin my
question. Is there
words.
is there a line in which you would live with a persistent medical condition but be rich enough to make that okay?
It depends what medical condition. Like if it's like cancer or something life threatening, then probably not. But if it's something that I can manage, then there could be a line. It depends what it is.
Agreed.
Like, can you throw out an example, maybe? Or
Go ahead, Bonfire.
No, I need to know what kind of condition I got.
Okay,
yeah,
so both of you had the same question. I don't know, but and I guess this goes more back to faith and religion and stuff, but here's the thing. If I could provide for my family, if I could leave them something, and I could enjoy materialistically everything until the day I died, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with only living to be 47 years old and then moving on to what I think's coming in the from my future at that point. If I got to live the rest of my 17 years in complete comfort and with the money surrounding me. And I'm really trying to keep the religion out of it, and please understand that. But
WhackMat, people watch you for your gaming insight. So you can be as opinionated as you want on 3 Bar. 3 Bar is a safe place, safe
3 bars is
environment.
safe place.
We're all friends
I'm
here.
going
Come
to
on.
heaven. I want to live rich here on earth because I know I'm going to be rich in my eternal reward.
All
So
right.
that's my answer. And so what's the condition? Let's say you have AIDS and you have to manage it with medicine that you have the money to pay for. and that you are Warren Buffett rich.
So you're basically saying, would I say yes if someone walked up to me and said, I'm going to inject you with AIDS and give you $100 million?
No, no, no. I'm going to inject you with AIDS, and you will have a bottomless bank account,
So infinite money.
infinite money.
God, that is tough, man.
Are you asking
Because
if
I
I'd be
don't.
okay with that or if I'd do that?
If you would, if will you say yes? Because like I don't have the religious strength that Wagman has. I honestly fear death to an immense amount, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to accomplish. Lots of times, I'm afraid I won't be able to accomplish what I want to in life in time, if that makes sense, without getting too depressing
It
or
does.
graphic. So,
I'm impressed.
so I kind of I would take. I wouldn't do it just because I feel like I could still work to get to a point where I was still comfortable, and obviously I'm not going to be Warren Buffett rich as you referenced, but I don't think I would. I don't think I would be able to do that. Just knowing that I'm condemning myself to a shorter life than I would previously have. I don't think I could get through with that.
For me, I don't know if I'd do it either, but because the way I believe that everything happens for a reason. So if I were to somehow, contract AIDS, then I would do my best to keep my head up and learn to live with it. And I don't know if I'd want all that money. So I probably wouldn't do it just because I honestly wouldn't want all that money because I feel like with that amount of money, like for example, people who win the lottery, you people are just trying to get at you for your money and I
That's
don't want
true.
that. So I think I would just go on living my life, with my mediocre job or whatever it may be, just trying to do the things that I love, spending time with my family, and just creating a quality of life within my means. To me,
I
that's more important.
I consider
You heard it
time
here.
to be more valuable than money.
You heard
That's
it
what I
here
would
first.
say.
Bonfire hates people with AIDS.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh,
Let's
really?
throw let's throw AIDS talk into the title of this. We'll be like MLG AIDS talk and COD news reporters.
Wow.
See how many hits we get off that the Google
Wow.
search engine.
How many thumbs down am I gonna get?
Yeah.
None because they watch you for your gaming insight. Remember,
That's
so you
right.
will get no thumbs down. Anyways, you guys
I
want to
like
transition
everybody,
to
guys. Come on.
MLG
Let's
now?
move on. That's good. That was a good topic,
I
though.
like that. That was a nice random.
I'll find more of those for the future.
Yeah, find more NOS
I-
commercials to plug in
And I
here.
believe that you will. I believe it.
All right, MLG. So, what do we want to? Last week we talked a lot about esports, if you will. I don't know how comfortable I am with that term, but we talked a lot about competitive gaming last week. So,
That's a better term.
yeah, what do we want to specifically talk about? Because obviously, as we record this, MLG Anaheim is in full swing. Call of
Let us
Duty, League of Legends, StarCraft. It'll be aired by the time this video goes up, but as of right now, it is going on.
So here's my grumble. Nobody in my family understands when I say I want to watch the tournament this weekend. There's a tournament going on this weekend. It's the major. What is it? It's Anaheim. What's
MLG
the
Anaheim.
MLG.
MLG Anaheim? I want to watch this tournament. I want to be involved in this, and just like every Saturday during football season, well, I watch college football. I watch it from 11 a.m.
Go
until
Ducks.
the last game is
Same
played at the
here.
very
Same
end with
thing.
people over in Bonfire's neck of the woods. I watched all day Saturday. My whole Saturday is devoted to
I'm the
college
same
football.
way.
This weekend, I don't want to get dressed. When the last game's over, I'll take a shower and go to bed. When I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna take another shower just because I do that. I'm weird, and
I
and
got a
I'm,
shower every day too.
I wanna watch whoever's playing. Who are they? I don't know. I don't care. First time I've ever seen them when they put the player photos up.
Lots of them look
So
like
They're
mugshots.
mugshots.
most of them
Total
look like
mugshots.
mudshot. I tweeted that last night. I don't care who they are. I want to see it because these guys are cool. Esports, yes, it's esports. It's absolutely esports. These guys do what I enjoy doing, and they do it on a professional level. I like watching them, and I want the whole world to have a relative respect for this industry or sport, in so much that I hate hockey. I really do. If you like hockey, I'm sorry. I hate
Nah.
hockey. And
Are you
if you
saying that? Are you
say
saying it like that on purpose, Hockey? Okay,
absolutely,
just
I
making
hate
sure. I didn't even understand what you said at first, but
H
anyways,
A W K I E
Hockey.
hockey.
hockey, eh?
Florida boy here. Anyway, I hate hockey, And if you want to go watch the games, I'm not going to disrespect you for that. If that's something that you're into, that's great. Good. Go enjoy yourself, and I hope your team does well. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care for it. I'm not going to be into it. If you want to share something exciting with me later on, that's great. But whatever. I want everyone to have that much, at least just that much respect for the interview that's going on camera, the game that's being played, for the come from behind clutch victory or the huge predictable blowout. I think that it should receive that much respect, and that's my
Yeah.
standpoint.
I feel like not enough people. I have two examples of this. Not enough people understand competitive gaming and really the inner workings. And I've actually got a competitive team put together just about right now to go. You guys don't follow us closely, so I think WagMed. I talked to you about UMG one time before, and you weren't familiar with it because not as many people are familiar with UMG. It's basically one step down from MLG, right? Um, so some pro teams participate in it, usually 3 or 4 per event. But I basically got a team to go to the next UMG event right now. It's $25,000 prize pool, and we're planning on attending it. It's in Atlanta and it's in August. So spoiler alert, that's one of the big things coming to my channel soon is more competitive. But when I had to explain to my parents, like this weekend in August, I want to go with 3 guys I know over the internet to go play in a Call of Duty tournament, and we're playing in a
How'd
Call of
that
Duty
go
tournament
over
to try to
for
win
you?
money. Well, see, that's the thing. My parents are much more understanding than lots of people's parents. It didn't take much to convince them. Do they really understand the premise of what is actually going on? Not that much, but they're like, okay, we support you. This is something you want to do, and I'm thankful for that because they do support me and all my YouTube stuff and everything. Not financially, but everything else. But like people like my parents, they don't understand when I say, hey, I'm gonna stay up till, like, they were telling me I needed to wake up early in the morning tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm staying up till 2 a.m. watching professional Call of Duty. What are you guys talking about? Like, that just throws them for a loop. They don't get it. So I think if it's not mainstream enough for people to understand, and I think kind of what you were talking about, if people, like, even if you're not a hockey fan, if you see an amazing save or something, or you see an amazing somebody just hit the crap out of someone in a hockey game, like, even as a non-hockey fan, you still like understand that and respect it, even if you're not really into it. So I think that's one standpoint. And also lots of people who are players, like Call of Duty players, they don't even understand, like casual players, they don't understand, like, how many times it happens to me a lot. Like, some kid left a comment on one of my videos one time, and he's like, and he's a fan of mine, but I don't think he watches much anymore because he doesn't comment as much as he used to. He said, I like MLG Call of Duty because I'm really good at it. And I'm like, you're really good at MLG Call of Duty. What, you've never, tell me the MLG event you've been to and played Call of Duty, and like, people don't understand the amount of time and stuff that these professional players put into it and how good they are. Like, people who say, go on a Woody's Gamertag video and say, hey Woody, you should really join the Optic team and stuff. Like, with all due respect to Woody's Gamertag, he couldn't get a kill on a professional player in a real match. So it's, people just don't understand the amount of, like, the level it's at, and it's not mainstream enough, which I think you guys are going to touch on.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it for me. I don't follow Major League Gaming and all that. I think it's great. I think it does a lot for the gaming community. And in watching this, because I watched it last night, I thought it was very entertaining. And here's what I like about it: I like the production value because it is produced like a televised sport. So like
Eh,
football, like basketball, they have the commentators, they have the
eh,
interviews. I mean, it's comparable.
Well, why the eh? Why the eh,
comparable.
Whackbed?
I don't want to knock him off his train of thought. I will come back to it.
All right.
Okay. Well, I though it's not the best production value. For example, I think one of the MLG commentators, Puckett, I think that guy's a complete tool, and
You said that
he,
on Twitter last night.
I know, and I'm
Ding
gonna
ding
say it
ding
again.
ding
He is
ding.
such a tool. Like that guy doesn't even know what a video game is. You can just tell, and he doesn't know how to tie a tie. And anyways, it's come on,
Bonfire is taking shots here.
the guy's got to have some class. I
He's
mean, you got to
right
look good.
though.
The
Look
guy
at his
from England,
tie.
the other dude, Benson, I think his
Puckett,
name is.
Puckett is one of the most respected podcasters, honestly. And here's
It's because he's got nice teeth.
Bonfire's just taking shot after shot. He's going
Exactly,
after the
because
man's clothing.
you're on arguably
You're
television. You're on the internet. You got to look good.
Got
I don't sit
50,000
there.
people watching you.
you're on fire, man. Keep going.
So anyways, the production value's there. Get some better commentators. The Benson guy's good. I like his accent. Um, and the interviews need to be more interesting. But I think what would help it go even more mainstream, because a lot of people know Optic Gaming. They know the people on the team.
Oh God.
I'm not saying I'm for them or anything like that, but the reason why people know them is because they have quality sponsors behind them. They have, for example, Red Bull, things like that. So they have big name sponsors, and they've gotten their name out there, whether it be via social networking or anything like that. But if other teams were to do the same and get some bigger players involved with it, I think that would help it make it more mainstream and make it more exciting, because you have the big sponsors behind them. It's going to add more publicity, get more viewers, and make it more exciting. And I think another thing that's going to be interesting with Call of Duty Ghosts coming out, will it maintain that same competitive gameplay? I don't know. Arguably not, because that's the way um, Infinity Ward's been doing things. It's not as competitive as Treyarch's games, but I think tweaking it just a little bit to make it more competitive with the next game and just keeping it going, adding some big sponsors, I think that's going to just help make it more available and more interesting to people.
Okay, you want me to explain the eh?
Explain
Go
the
for
yeah.
First of all, Puckett is a tool. He's a
Yes.
he's
Puckett,
a
I
tool.
love you.
He's
Don't
got
listen to
nice
these
teeth.
guys.
What do you want? He's got nice. You know what? He does a fair job. He does no better or worse job than I would do if I got thrown into the match right now and said, "Codcast this." I think that me and half of the people watching this podcast, I think we would do as good a job as Puckett, if not better, as good a job. I think that the mainstream media approach needs to be first of all, my ad was on the production value, and I think that one of the things that limits the production value is that there is no mainstream media outlet for this game. The only place you can find this is online. You can find it at majorleaguegaming.com. You can find it at twitch.tv, and those are the only two places that you can watch. And there, you can't sit down and turn your television on, which would be the end all, or maybe pay-per-view, to watch these events. That would be a better production value.
Yeah.
I think that the people who are being used as commentators and codcasters are just whoever got grandfathered into it. It's like, we want to make a real YouTube thing, so we're going to take the top 5 YouTubers and ask them if they want to do it. Okay, well, we're going to do a real codcasting thing. We're going to take the top 5 people who do something similar to it. And I think, a couple of them have come from other games.
Well, here's what I'll say to kind of. I don't mean to cut you off, but
That's fine. I got a couple more points.
first of all, MLG was on ESPN for a short time. And this was several years ago, like at least 4 or 5 years ago. Um, not Call of Duty, I don't think. But anyways, I would say that if you follow the competitive scene, you know that the people casting this event are the best casters that there are. There's the people who are casting this event, that they all have experience. They've casted many events before, and they're at the top of the field. Now you could argue maybe the top of the field isn't good, but
Yeah.
regardless, I mean, like people like Hastro like helped is an advisor to Treyarch on trying to improve esports, and Benson's like the top EU caster, and Revan, who played for Prime Example, he was a player who went into casting, and now he's back to being a player, and he's casted a lot this year. So I think the casters are as qualified as anyone else to do it. I wouldn't say but you guys are doing a lot of caster hating, and I'm just trying to put that down a little bit, just because I think they do a better job than maybe they get credit for. But
Now, I'm not saying they do a bad job, but that Puckett guy, he comes
oh god,
across like he doesn't know gaming. He's so fake, nothing is genuine about him, and he doesn't know how to dress.
all
Now,
right,
you get someone
Well,
like
the other thing
Benson,
is this:
there's nothing genuine coming from him, and I just don't get that vibe. It's
all right,
fake.
when I
that's
watch a
fair, that's fair.
when I watch a football game, the people bring up, oh, back in '72, this game was decided like this. I understand there's not as much history in Call of Duty or in esports in general, but these guys are event to event, they're topic to topic, they're talking point to talking point, and if it's not written down for them, they don't have a thought of their own. Is the perception that I receive. So
All right.
I think that will actually improve even for Puckett in the future with the more pseudo mainstream this gets. Another huge problem to the production value is that very few teams are known. VVV, Envy, Optic, and one of the teams
Impact wins everything, wins every
Impact and
event.
Farico. There was another team last night. I can't remember.
Unite is decently well known. Complexity, Phase
Yeah.
is obviously.
Yeah, but who's not well known? There's like a million. There were 128 teams in this weekend's
Well, that's the
thing.
equivalent of me and my friends going to UMG Atlanta, though. Is those 128 teams? That's us, basically. Like,
Okay, okay,
you
that's
know.
fine.
So
But
they
can
shouldn't be known. The reason they're not known, or the reason that they're in the open bracket and not the championship bracket, is because they're not known.
I'll tell you what though, any general American, if you want to go interview anyone on the street,
They have no idea
they
who Optic is.
they will probably be able to. Yeah, who's Optic? They will probably be able to name 10 of the 32 NFL teams.
Yeah,
Any person in America knows 10 of the 32 NFL teams.
I'd say that's
I
about
can name.
accurate.
I think I can name all 32.
I think
That's
I can
here
too.
or there. Um, but the point is, can you name more than 10? You and I can. Bonfire can. Can you name? Can any general person who doesn't follow esports name more than 10?
Can they
How
name
about more than
one? They can't
5?
name one.
No, if you can't name Optic, you're just under
No,
a rock
okay.
with
If you're no,
Bonfire
well,
scoot over.
are we talking about the general public, or are we talking about somebody who's interested in gaming?
If you own an Xbox, a
Okay,
PS3,
okay. I thought we
or
were talking
a
about the
Wii,
general
and you have a
public.
Call of Duty game, you
All
can
right,
probably name either Optic, Envy, or Farico.
all right. Fair
Any of the
enough.
Frico
Just to
teams.
clarify that.
I'm sorry, you thank you for doing that. But can you name can Oyster? Can you name 15? Can you name 15 teams?
I think I could.
Bonfire, could you name 15 teams? You said you
MLG
don't
teams?
follow. Yeah, you don't follow.
No,
Can you name 10?
no.
Okay, I can name. I could probably name 10. And you know who I liked was Donut Shop because it felt like I was coming on the MLG scene about the same time they were getting
Yeah.
popular. I thought Donut Shop was kind of cool. I follow Optic because I like Woody and he's an honorary Optic guy. I think that the Optic guys go out of their way to make the sport bigger. So that's one of the reasons I like them and I'm not a total fanboy as I got accused of on Twitter last night by some person.
Well, there was premise. There was premise for that.
I
You told me
understand. I
to
know
bite
it
thine
was
tongue for predicting Evil to win, and then Evil went out and made me look stupid by getting wrecked. But anyways,
Well,
And the last point that I have as far as the production value of Major League Gaming goes is that codcasting is in Black Ops 2, and I think that's the only reason is it is as big as it is at this moment. I think that better views. Have y'all seen the cutscenes? The cutscenes for the introductions to the game types in this. They're third person.
yep.
They're kind of a free camera or a chase camera,
yeah.
and I think that is what is needed to really step it to the next level. Is maybe chase camera or free camera mode
Yeah.
so that
Yes.
you're not restricted to either first person or the overview map. I think that the people who are calling these games, the codcasters, should have more tools than what we are seeing
Yeah.
because I can do
That's a great
everything they
point.
can do right now.
Right. Here's the like to jump in on that point while it's still
I'm
fresh.
done, so go ahead.
The thing that you brought up a good point is like the whole esports scene is limited by what is put into the games. So if Call whatever they have to do in Black Ops 2, whatever they have at their disposal as casters and as presenters, that's all they have to work with. It's like I was thinking to myself the other day, I'm like, I would legitimately like to try to pursue a career as a professional Call of Duty player. It may never happen, but I'd like to give it a shot. What happens if I become a professional Call of Duty player and it's my job? Like, what if you're Optic Nade Shot, right? And your job is to stream competitive Call of Duty and to go to professional events. What happens if in 5 years Activision says, you know what, guys, it's been fun, but we've decided that we've done all we can do with the Call of Duty series and we're going to wrap it up, and the game ends. Every professional Call of Duty player is either out of a job or they have to find a new game. So from that standpoint, and from what if codcasting's not in Call of Duty? It becomes a worse product from a presenting it as a professional standpoint? What if all these other tools that they put into the game aren't in there? What if league play's not in there? Then less people are interested in it. Stuff like that. Like the people who were presenting these things, like MLG, EGL in Europe, UMG, whoever, they're limited by what the game gives them. So they kind of have to make the best of what they have. Last thing is that MLG, I think, has a pretty good production value, considering there's not a whole lot of money that goes into this, because there's, you can argue as much as you want, but esports is still not really that popular from a global standpoint. I mean, it's popular, but it's not on the level of most sports yet. But so there's not a whole lot of money. But Gfinity, which is an invite-only tournament that's coming up, I believe it's this summer. It's invite only. It's League of Legends and Call of Duty. It's like 8 League of Legends teams and 10 Call of Duty teams. They said that they've been working on their production value, and it's a huge prize pool, and that they said they're going to blow MLG out of the water from a production value standpoint. So if you want to be on the lookout for that, that's coming up, I think, in July. So.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to piggyback off of what WakMed was saying, as far as like just asking general people, can they name football teams? And that just goes to, I mean, football, that's a rough example because football is like the biggest sport in America, but take baseball, for example, which is also a big sport, or just any sports like that. You can name the teams, even the small market teams, because they're well known and they put themselves out there. And I think that's what this competitive gaming needs, is the teams need to do a better job at putting themselves out there. There's so many outlets via social media to get your name out there. And sure, you could say it's saturated, but if you do a better job in getting your name out there, showing your product, and trying to get, like I said, back to my point earlier, those big sponsors, it's just going to help get it more mainstream. So I think the individual players themselves need to do even more work to get it out there.
All right, me and WakMed are debating in the chat here. Let's see what comes. Okay, WakMed, you want to make your point first?
I think the only team that does that puts themselves out there is Optic. The only one that you can find other than Rambo Ray, the only person that I've seen on Twitch is the 4 members of the Call of Duty Optic clan. That is Nade Shot, Big Timer, Merc, and Scumpy. Other than that, I've seen Rambo Ray and I'm sorry, Aches. I've seen Aches on there. And who's he with? Oyster?
Complexity.
Complexity. I've seen him on, and other than that, nobody at all.
I'm going to tell you right now the reason that Optic is 10 times more popular than everybody else. The reason that Optic is way more popular than everybody else, and this is the reason. Now, this has led to other things. Like you can say that they're popular because Nadeshot's sponsored by Red Bull. Well, this is the reason Nadeshot is sponsored by Red Bull. The reason that they're so popular is because Scump and Nadeshot are huge on YouTube, and they developed a YouTube following, and that following followed them to the team of Optic. If Nadeshot and Scump played for Complexity, all the Optic fanboys would be Complexity fanboys. If that's what I think. Now, obviously, now that they have become the most popular, then that's leading to more opportunities like the sponsorships and stuff, and opportunities to put themselves out there. But I'll tell you that there are lots of pro players that stream. Like there's at least two out of every four players on most pro teams, at least half of their team streams. So, I wouldn't say that other teams aren't trying to put themselves out there, because lots of pro players do YouTube and lots of pro players do Twitch, but the fact that they're not big on YouTube and Twitch is why that they're not known. So I think lots of teams try to put themselves out there, but Optic had a massive head start because Nadeshot, a lot of his fame came from being a pub player and sniping. Like while he kept playing competitive, there was a time he wasn't on Optic, and he was a supporter of Optic, and he was a part of the Optic organization, but he wasn't on the pro team, and he still gained lots of subscribers from sniping and things like that. So I think all the teams are doing their best to put themselves out there, but Optic got big on YouTube, and that's why they're the most popular, honestly.
If you could figure out how to put yourself out there, then you would make all kinds of money by doing exactly what it is that we enjoy.
Yeah, well, and like you were saying, Oyster, is that, yeah, I think you kind of just made my point, is that individually, if you can make it out there via the social media outlets, you're going to help your team, you're going to help MLG Gaming, and it's just going to be better overall, and you'll create a fan base. And I think one of the things that would be kind of cool for some of the teams to do is, I mean, if they have their own channel, whatever the team name is, upload vlogs of, if you're at a certain MLG event, upload vlogs, what you're thinking, impressions after you've gamed, just things like that. Just I'd like to see some of that stuff kind of behind the scenes. So I think there's a lot of things you can do, and not everyone's doing them, arguably so. So yeah.
Well, here's what I'll tell you guys though. The things you guys are saying, WagMed said the only people I ever see streaming are Optic and then a couple of other people. And you're saying that people need to do vlogs. These players do that, but they just don't have the following that it gets noticed. They do these things. Like if I had let's say I have 1 million YouTube subscribers right now from doing what I do and just uploading commentaries and playing, League, playing public matches or whatever, right? If I decided to join a professional team and my 1 million subscribers, if a decent bit of them followed me over, then the team I'm on is now the most popular, one of the top 2 or 3 most popular teams. It doesn't
True.
matter. The fact that I've got the fan base from outside of that immediately makes the team more popular, which is so. They can put all the effort in they want, but it's like, do you think a YouTuber with 10,000 subscribers can put out better content than 1 million? Yes, but they're still gonna, the person with 1 million is still gonna get more love from the community and still be more known. So I think a lot of them try to put themselves out there, but they're just so far behind it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just the saturation of the different outlets.
Yeah.
So
You
Transition.
know what's funny is I'm reading through these funny little questions that I found, and that one of the questions on here is, do you play video games now? I thought that was funny because it's like this is a depending on which one of us you ask, this is either a podcast about gaming or a podcast that is made by gamers. I think there's a huge difference there. However, I just thought this question was funny in that, do you still play video games now? I think that question's out of date. Yeah, I had to throw that in there. So, uh, what games have you played, and what games were good on these consoles? On the instead of getting into Xbox One and PS4,
Let's take a
yeah.
step back. Let's go back to the good old days,
what
like
yeah, what
2007 and
what was
stuff.
good on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3?
Well, I've got 4 games here that are some of my top favorites from this console generation, and I'll just go through them. The first thing that comes to my mind, and I played this game on Xbox, is BioShock, the original BioShock. I just felt this game it did something it hadn't really done before. It has a fantastic story. It's a first-person shooter genre, and I like those types of games, and I loved the atmosphere and everything that was done with that game. I just think it's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, you can pick it up for probably like $10. It's
The first
and
one?
the first one, yeah. I'm talking the original BioShock.
I tried
Awesome
playing
game.
that game as like a 10-year-old and it scared the crap out of me.
Sure.
Just throwing that out there. I couldn't actually play it.
I gotta check this out.
Just throwing that out there. I couldn't do it.
It's amazing. It's a great game. And see, for me, I like games as far as single player goes that have really grasping stories and make you think a little bit.
Same.
So that game does that. Another game that I thought was fantastic done by Valve is Portal 2. If you haven't played this series, it's a puzzle game, and it's a first person puzzle game. So again, that first person genre, and it's just so well done. It has comedy in it, and kind of a creepy atmosphere again. With I won't even go into detail about the story. There is a little bit of one.
Didn't it
Go
come
ahead.
out last year or the year
Portal
before?
2, 2011. I think it was April
11?
in 2011 when this one came out. But it's
Has it
it's
been that long?
fantastic. And what's great about this is, yes, it is a puzzle game, which may turn off some viewers, but the puzzles are the perfect balance and amount of challenge, because it's not so hard to where you need to look up the answer, but it's hard enough to where you'll sit there for a second, look around, and try to figure it out, and eventually it'll just click. Great balance as far as difficulty. Another title which was just released, Defined Puzzle Game. So basically the premise is, you enter a certain area and you have to get through that area. And there's different ways to do that, and you use portals to, press buttons to open a certain door or try to reach a higher area. So it's all about getting through that level and how you do it. So that's kind of the
I
puzzle.
consider a puzzle game to be any game that is the primary focus of the game is challenging you to think your way out of a situation.
And that's exactly what Portal 2
So
does.
that'd be
So
my
yeah,
definition.
yeah. Another game, and this is a PlayStation 3 game, so I'm not all
Is it The
Xbox.
Last of Us?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I called it. I'm so proud of
Th-
myself.
This game is arguably one of the best exclusives for the PlayStation 3. It is amazing. It has such a great story. It's emotional. The gameplay is top notch. Dare I say it? It is a masterpiece of a game. Game of the year. I'm calling it 2013. My review. I'm working on it. It'll be up probably next week, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh, don't do that.
Nice plug.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice plug. But however, I've got 3 people that I follow that have done Last of Us playthroughs. And it's like,
Wings is one
oh,
of
I'm
them.
so tired of it.
But it's
No, I don't follow it.
Oh, you don't? Okay. There's
Not
tons of
anymore.
YouTubers doing it. Like, I'm watching Wings' Let's Play of it. It makes me want to go buy a PlayStation to play that game. Like,
Do
that's how... I'm not doing it, because I'm not made of money. But that's what it does look awesome. And I wish I could play it, but I probably won't ever get the opportunity to.
Yeah, and again, my review's not a Let's Play. I don't like Let's Plays I think they're great.
Yeah, WakMed.
Yeah, it's just a review.
What?
They didn't know Let's Play. I don't do Let's Plays.
My
So
bad.
it's a review. But anyways, as far
That's cool.
Oyster
As-
may have Let's Plays in his future, wink wink.
Fail.
Uh-oh. Plug. As far as
Plug.
multiplayer goes, I love all the Call of Duty games, don't get me wrong, but the game that brings back some of the fondest memories for me was before Call of Duty 4 came out, and that is Halo 3. I just thought the multiplayer was fantastic. It was fun. I was addicted to it, and I spent a good part of my college years playing that game. And you got to look at what Halo did for as far as multiplayer goes. It did so much. It made Call of Duty what it is, arguably, and I had a lot of fun with it. So there you go. There's a couple of my top games this console generation.
WakMed, you can go ahead and name yours off if you want.
It's to me.
What?
Don't do that to me.
What? Why? Come on.
I'm not ready. I really am not.
I didn't prepare for this at all, but I've already got a couple in mind.
Okay, well, in that case,
I don't-
I'll let you bring it home as a good thing. But I tell you what, I own less than 10 Xbox 360 games. I came in late. If you've watched my channel, I know you heard that
Shame.
I came in Black Ops. What did I say?
Fail.
You only own 10 games.
Yeah. I only own about 10 games, and probably 4 of those are Legos games for the kids. One of them's a Kinect game.
Oh dear.
So
This
you
is
really
an
only own
issue.
5 games.
Yeah,
This
well,
is
I
an
came in
issue.
Black Ops 1. I didn't even buy a console till like 2 years ago. Black Ops 1 was out. I thought zombies looked cool, so I bought it, and then I was like, multiplayer. I gotta play. And I don't think I've stopped since.
And then your life was over.
And then my life was over, and now here I am on a podcast with 2 of the best guys that could ever be, and a sponsorship from a really cool website called Strictly Business Gaming. that you
WakMed
really
is
ought to check
plugging
out.
the crap out of Strictly Business this week.
And if you want to pay
Hey.
us to do this podcast, I will plug your crap too. Oh, wow. Sorry. Anyway, back to the topic. I think that Black Ops 2 was the only thing that's going to save Call of Duty for the new console. So I will say that because of the Pick 10 system, because of the innovations that it made, and the ability of the CEO of multiplayer, which is I guess David Vonderhaar, to reach out daily via Twitter to the players. I think Borderlands 2 was a super awesome game. I think that even a year later, people are still looking like Borderlands 2 video is one of my most popular. I made a video about not being able to get the new character that came out, and it's one of my most popular videos. And why is that? Because Borderlands 2 is still popular 2 years later, or well over a year later after its release. Borderlands 2 is still a very popular game, and Call of Duty doesn't have that staying power. Borderlands was able to reach into it, and so that is something that I admire. Other than that, I think that games that are able to go cross-platform, such as the Halo series, and I made a parody video of this. But Halo is getting into TV. Halo is getting into your telephone. Halo is on your consoles. It'll. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna call it, but I would venture to say that it is probably going to be on the PlayStation 4 next year, or
Okay.
the year. Whenever the
We'll
contract's up,
see.
I'm sure they're negotiating to get more people. I'm pretty sure it's too popular for them to be limiting themselves anymore as an exclusive. Um, and other than that, there was one more game. Oh, Trials, and I've been putting up Toy Stunt Bike, which is really cool because they use my avatar. I think that's really cool that I get to see me
Yeah,
right.
I've seen some of those.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's fun. I was killing time between games last night playing that, and it was fun. It had some staying power as a 5 minute thing. But Trials is now cross-platform, and I think cross-platform is really going to help out that game. So I guess Trials, Borderlands 2, the Halo series, along with Trials in the same fashion, and what specifically Treyarch was able to do with the innovations in Black Ops 2.
Yeah, I agree.
And I hate Battlefield 4. There you go.
Oh,
We know you hate Battlefield
I
4,
do.
we all know
so
that.
then everybody knows you hate Battlefield 4.
If you don't,
But
check out his video.
yeah,
But
check out his video and
I'm getting so much hate.
God, I wanted to stand up for you, but I didn't want to
Don't
get
do it.
involved.
Don't do it. I'm good. I can take it. I have written a response to that guy like 6 times and just deleted it before I sent it.
Yeah, I was like, this guy who just went off is the only one he has not responded to. I wonder why. But
Because I keep reading that scripture that I told you is over my
yes,
thing.
there
I
you
good
just
go.
can't
decision.
do it.
Just
There you go.
block and move on.
There you go.
But I'm not gonna say call. First of all, I've put tons of hours into Trials as well, and there's like 84 different Trials games, whether it be on random online gaming websites or on the Xbox, or on the PlayStation, or on whatever. Like there's 1,000 different versions of Trials, but I think the whole concept is fun. Um, but I'm not gonna say Call of Duty because I don't think Call of Duty does anything groundbreaking anymore. Um, One game that stands out to me is Assassin's Creed. It's been a really fun game for me. I've played every one except the original. I got Assassin's Creed 2 because I played it in my friend's house and it seemed really fun, so I bought it. And then I got every other one on release. Um, and I'm definitely getting the next one, and there might be something on something involving the next Assassin's Creed on my channel as far as content, wink wink, in the future. But that's one series that I really enjoyed a lot. Um, I got Forza Horizon the other day, which Forza is the Xbox exclusive racing game, and I wish I had gotten one of the earlier Forzas earlier. This is the most recent one. It's came out around the time of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. But that's a really fun game, and I think that's one thing that kind of helped me solidify my choice in the Xbox One is that I look forward to playing Forza as an exclusive. And outside of Assassin's Creed and Black Ops or Call of Duty in general, that is, there aren't a whole lot of games in this generation that really like blew me away and really kept me playing a lot. Like I've played lots of games. I've played FIFA all the time, and I put that on my channel. I played Madden. I've played pretty much every sports game that comes out, even the NHL games, WakMed, and all that stuff. And I've played Halo. I've played Battlefield. I've played Call of Duty. Played Assassin's Creed. I've played Forza now. I played almost or a majority of the major titles that have come out for the Xbox 360, but those are probably my top two. I guess I would say would be Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed for me personally.
I haven't played the Assassin's games, but I really want to because I've heard good things.
Dude, you've got to. Like you seem like the kind of person who would really like those. And there's such a deep storyline. It's so complicated. Like I've always said that if they made Assassin's Creed into a movie, that's the one movie I would go see on a
Oh, for
midnight
sure.
release.
Oh, absolutely. Assassin's Creed looks like a great movie, and I actually said that about the Modern Warfare 3 storyline. I kind of picked up. I finished Modern Warfare 3 and then back to 2, and Modern Warfare 3 storyline was so compelling that I had to be all into it. And I think we've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go deep into it, but their storyline was much better than their multiplayer, and I think that Assassin's Creed. I would love to see it as a movie where I didn't have to play with the controller and and be the guy. I haven't bought any of the Assassin's Creed. I probably am gonna buy Black Flag, just because my kids will like the pirate version, the pirate version of that first person player. But um, I can't knock Assassin's Creed, even though I've never bought or been a part of that community.
One thing I would recommend is if you really want to play it and really want to enjoy it. Now, obviously, I don't know what the next game holds because I haven't played it, but obviously because it's not out yet. But if it follows, the amount of in depth and intensity of the storyline of the previous games, I would recommend going back and at least playing, Assassin's Creed 3 and maybe Revelations, because you will not understand the story. Like, I mean, you'll have a basic understanding,
Yeah,
but
that's actually what. I'm
it'll
sorry.
blow you away,
I'm
basically.
sorry. The guy at GameStop, actually, not GameStop, at Best Buy, actually told me that, and that's why I've not bought into the Assassin's Creed, is because I was gonna get. I think Revelations was out. Three wasn't out. What was before that?
I
Revelations.
believe his Revelations came after
Yeah,
Brotherhood, I
and
think.
he
So
said you're
yeah,
not gonna understand Revelations. You can skip Brotherhood, but you need to play 1 and 2 before you play
yeah.
Revelations. And I was like, well, I really don't have time for that because I keep up with Call of Duty more often than I do anything else. And so that's actually the reason I never got into it. To so to prevent me from skipping Black Flag or from skipping going back to Assassin's Creed 3, could, without spoiling those games for others, can you skip that? Can you do that?
Can you skip? You mean could you skip like all of the previous ones and jump into Black Flag? You mean?
You think you could do that? I know you hadn't played it yet, but
I think you could.
You could
I think
get.
it's a
Well,
simple storyline.
here's the thing. It's a simple storyline, like in the fact that you understand the basic concept of what's going on, but there will be lots of references and lots of things talked about, and there will be lots of holes in the story for you that won't make sense.
well, I'll tell you what. Most of our people play Call of Duty. I played Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3's campaign. I don't feel like I missed enough in was it Call of Duty 4 that I had to go back and get that game and play the campaign. I felt like I was okay with just what I knew in Mod 2 and Mod 3.
The In my
Do you think
opinion, the campaigns of the Modern Warfare series is a 30-minute children's special compared to Assassin's Creed being a
6 hour?
4-hour movie.
6 hour.
Is from an in-depth standpoint. That's that's what I would like. It's
Really?
way more in-depth and way more complicated, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I would agree on that, but it, given the story of the Modern Warfare trilogy, if you will, yeah, you could probably, yeah, I'd say you could play 2 and 3 without missing too much. But it just overall, I thought it was a great story from beginning to end. I
Yeah,
liked the characters, and personally, I think it's better than Treyarch's campaigns.
I
True.
I I think I'm like the only person in the world who thinks that Treyarch actually makes really good campaigns.
I never said they were a bad campaign. I'm just talking strictly story wise. Because Black Ops 2, I felt when you're playing that, it took me like 3 or 4 missions to really get a grasp on what was going on. And yes, it has a lot of replay value when there's decisions you can make within that campaign, but it just, I felt like it just kind of threw you in there, and it took you a while to figure it out. So it just the pacing was off. And if you want, you can
No.
check out my review. It's one of the first videos I ever did on my channel, and I kind of talk about it a little bit there.
I like
You find replay value to the single player campaign in Call of Duty?
I'm
Black Ops 2 only
as
because
far
you can
as
make
the
decisions.
as far as I've gone back and played some of the older COD campaigns over the years of me playing Call of Duty on veteran difficulty, primarily because I usually play through on recruit or at most regular when I first play through because I'm more interested in the story than dying 1,000 times at hard parts. But I've done it for the purpose of getting achievements, because that's most. I don't know about Black Ops 2, but I think most of the COD games, a lot of the achievements are beat every mission on veteran, basically.
Yep.
I'll say I'm going back and playing through the Assassin's Creed 3 campaign right now to try to refresh myself to prepare for Black Flag because I feel like I need to. But I don't know that there's a whole lot. Like, I think the Black Ops 1 campaign was much better than the Black Ops 2 campaign, partly because the Black Ops 2 campaign was so disappointing. Because I feel like, I'm not saying it was bad, but going into Black Ops 2, I'm thinking, okay, I've heard all this stuff about how we're going to get to make decisions to change the story, and there's going to be a ton of alternate endings, and there's going to be these Strike Force missions that are gonna challenged us to be tactical and like an RTS almost. The Strike Force
Yeah.
missions
I
were
hated that
nothing, were
part.
not tactical at all. Like I'm someone who's played strategy games before and I enjoy them. So the Black Ops, that was not a strategy type mission at all. I'm sorry, it was not. It was not even close to what I was expecting. The decisions, I don't even remember making a major decision other than do you shoot Hudson or do you shoot the bad Menendez or wasn't that one of the like near the end of the game you had to
Yep.
shoot your teammate? That's like the only big
Oh,
decision
come
I
on with a
remember making.
spoiler. I hadn't finished it
If you
yet.
if you
Oh,
hadn't
come
finished
on,
it,
dude.
it's only in 2 days. It's gonna
boring.
in 2 days. It's gonna be July. If you haven't beat the campaign by now, it needs to be spoiled because you're not gonna beat it.
It's boring. I'm just bored.
Well,
Oh,
there's a
look,
couple other
Bondihar's on.
I'm
subtle
just
things
saying.
you can do within that game that are going to change some of the little things. Because I've played through it twice just to see what other decisions I can make and see if I can alter any of the outcomes. There's a couple little things you can do, and I wanted to see a different ending that I saw you could
How
get online.
different? Since I've only played through it once, how different was the ending?
Well, it's been a while, but for example, there's a girl that you save. I think is on that island, and I think in one of the decisions, I don't know it specifically. Again, it's been a while since I've played it, but she can die, or she can live and like stop one of the computer viruses or something. So just it's little things like that that happen within the game. Now I agree that there's only a few of them out there within the game, but it did add replay value. And as far as that strategy Strike Force thing, like I suck at real time strategy games anyways, and I'm not saying it
That
is a
was
real
the
time strategy
most
game,
disappointing thing.
but it was annoying because it kept popping up saying, "Oh, you got to play this," but it's like I don't want to because it sucks.
Yeah, I don't know that the Black Ops 2 campaign was bad necessarily, but I was when I came into this. This is gonna sound stupid, and after and in hindsight's 2020, but when they first announced all this stuff about all the changes they were making to the campaign, I'm thinking single player for me is gonna rival multiplayer in this game. Like I'm gonna want to play this campaign 15 times over because of all this new stuff they're implementing. I played through it once. I'm like, this is the same thing we've had all the time. It was just so disappointing to me. That's why I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, and I thought it was disappointing too because I really liked the Black Ops campaign just because kind of had a little twist in there, and I just liked the way it was designed from beginning to end. I thought it told a pretty good story. Um, Black Ops 2 didn't do that, so I thought it just kind of failed as far as telling a good story and following up to what I thought was a great Black Ops campaign.
I agree.
Yeah, who
Eh.
cares? I'm a multiplayer. I'm here for multiplayer. I
Black
got
Dad's a
into
noob. He doesn't
Xbox.
like the stories.
Well, it's not the story. It's the if. Here's the thing. I reset my stat. Here's a plug for a video that I did. I reset my stats and because I wanted to keep going in the multiplayer. What I like to do is the multiplayer. I like the community. I like the online. I like the trash talk. I like the me versus you. To me is 10 million times what the single player is. And so that's the appeal, the draw for me. And I understand that may not be the way it is for you, but for me, that's what I want. And so the multiplayer, and actually I'm going to have a video, hint hint, coming out in the future about multiplayer being separated from the first person. I know I won't be the first person to make this kind of video, but I really think they could be sold exclusively, and you may see that in the future. And so I don't know, but these are all terrific games that will be lasting achievements or lasting amounts of pedigree for these systems long after these systems are gone.
I agree. We ready to
So
wrap it up?
yes,
Yeah.
please let's wrap it.
Yeah, I've got a headache. Not from you guys, but just in general. Just to clarify.
That's all the crack you smoke. I'm telling you, you really need
I
to give
know,
that habit
dude.
up.
I've had like 4 interventions, but they can't get through to me. I'm
Do you have
sorry.
teeth?
Yes, I'm not one of the. They say not even once, but you can get by. You can get
No,
by.
not even one. No, truly and seriously
Yes,
though, not
I'm
even one.
joking, everybody. Of course,
Yes,
drugs
you
are
are.
bad. Okay.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. South Park Stick of Truth. Let's play coming. I know you're excited, Wagman.
Yeah, so that's 3-bar exploits for this week. If you've enjoyed it, please drop a like, drop a subscription to all of us, because we all have terrific content like this coming out, and we all upload this weekly. We try to put it out on a Tuesday afternoon. If you would, make sure you visit all of us, at least to give us the like. If you would, down below in the comment section, if you're still here this long, we consider you a very valued member of this 3-bar exploits podcast, and we want to hear, what do you want to hear us discuss, dissect, talk about? What is it that you want to hear us do next week? Leave that in the comments down below. Thanks. Have a great day.